watch me educate. Yeah, we been, could've started, but it's never late. Do it for my kids, yeah, let's set it straight. Do it for your kids, gotta set it straight. It's time to regulate. We need change now. We need solar, we need...
Welcome back to the podcast. And Dr. Catrise Austin, welcome to you as well.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with you. We're going to have a great conversation.
I sure hope so. So I told you before the podcast that we like to dig deep and really kind of explore who the person is who we're talking to. So most people know about the hip hop dentist or the queen of smiles, right?
Yes.
So I want you to rewind though. Who were you before all of this started out? Who were you before all the fame? Who were you before all the recognition? What was version 1.0 like?
Well, version 1.0, I grew up in Flint, Michigan, single mom. My mom had me at 17, so I had a teenage mom who was amazing, is amazing. And she exposed me to everything: music, the arts, travel, everything. She wanted me to try out different things to see what I liked. So I was born with the autonomy to discover myself. And I was only a child till I was 15. So I had a lot of alone time to discover who I am. And it was good for me. It was good for me. I learned how to be alone. So during the pandemic, I had no problems. I was used to being alone. I could be by myself. But I had a great childhood. Although I had the autonomy and freedom and had a great childhood, there were some insecurities with my smile. I didn't feel confident because I had teeth that flared out. I had multiple spaces. So I was a happy kid in one sense because I got to explore the world, but then there was this insecurity that always lingered with me. And it wasn't until high school that I got a chance to address that. And it was life-changing when I did get a chance to address that, because getting the braces that I needed to improve my confidence led me to this career in dentistry.
Well, you mentioned growing up in Flint, Michigan, and Flint, Michigan's not known for being a walk in the park, not a gentle place.
No.
What did your experiences there teach you about yourself? You said you were allowed to do this journey of self-discovery. And what did it teach you about survival?
Well, I will say when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't the Flint, Michigan that we hear about today with the water crisis and crime. It was booming. General Motors, which my entire family worked for General Motors. I'm the first person to break that trade. And it was built on community. It was built on religion. We went to church, so I had family values. The neighborhood, we'd go outside and play. It was look after. You belong to the neighborhood. If you did something bad, the neighbor's going to tell. You get home, you know you're going to get in trouble. So it was about family values, community, and I saw a lot of grit. I saw my mom and my grandparents wake up and go to the factory. I got a chance to visit the factory, so I saw how hard my grandparents worked. So I think a little bit of my hustle and family values kind of trickled into what you see today in my business. But it was a great town. It was a great environment. And I think that it prepared me for that hustle, that grit. But also my core values came from being raised in Flint, Michigan with a great background, a great family background, community background, and great schooling as well. My mom made sure that, one of the things they used to tell me is because you're Black or you came from the hood, you couldn't take these courses. These courses weren't for you. And my mom fought to make sure that I got those advanced courses, those programs that I wasn't typically supposed to be in. I made sure that my mom made sure that I got into those courses and I got the schooling that I needed, which of course helped me later on get into dental school.
Yeah, it really speaks to some of the changes we need to take to need to make to change our educational system for the better.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a lot about family values and going to church and the lessons that your community taught you. But I happen to know a really important part of your life is food.
Oh, yes, it is.
So talk to me a little bit about that growing up. And I want to just start off by saying your mom sounds like an absolute tiger.
Oh, yeah, she is. Food. So my grandparents are from the South, Mississippi. And when they came to Michigan, it was all about gardening. So we ate, fresh food. My mom today still has a garden. When I am in Michigan, that's one of the things that I love, that you could just go out and pick your collard greens and pick the food that you eat, and it tastes so much better.
That's actually the first thing you asked whenever you arrived at the studio, is where the garden was.
Yeah, I did. I forgot about that. I did. We grew up watching, before the Food Network, I watched PBS, and there was one of my favorite chefs called Justin Wilson. I guarantee Cajun, which you know about.
Absolutely. I grew up watching him as well.
Yeah, so I love watching the food shows and how things were prepared. And my whole family are excellent cooks. Everything is from scratch. No boxes. And my mom took cake decorating classes. So all of my birthday cakes when I was growing up were homemade, decorated. And those skills, I was in the kitchen and learning and watching and tasting. As a matter of fact, when I was home for Labor Day a few weeks ago, she made me a cake from scratch, and she gave me the bowl. And that was one of the things that I loved back in childhood, licking the bowl. Just those memories are very fun. But I love food. Everyone knows today that if you come to my town, or if you're going out to dinner with me, we're going to have a great experience, because I watch all the YouTube videos on where to eat in New York, and, the best this and that. And it's comforting, and it's just something I really love, because my family is a food family.
It sounds like whenever I start up the cooking podcast, you need to come back.
I will be here.
So, with all of this, when did you first realize that dentistry could be more than just a job or a profession? When did you realize it could be a platform?
The first indication is when I did get to high school, and my mom decided to sacrifice and get those braces that I so desperately wanted. I didn't realize when those braces came off how important a smile was. I joined the dance squad. I got my first boyfriend. Shout out to Scott Newman in Flint, Michigan. He made me feel so beautiful when I got those braces off and I was ready to explore dating. I also, when I got to senior year and those votes were, you had the best smile, I was nominated and won prettiest smile. And so I quickly discovered the power of a smile, which became my platform. I knew at that moment at age 16 that I wanted to become a dentist. And fast forwarding to my career in dentistry, when I saw Dr. Bill Dorfman and this TV show, Extreme Makeover, and you see the best part of the makeovers was that smile transformation and how people cried, and it just completely changed them. And I connected with that. I was like, cosmetic dentistry is what I want to do to help people change their smiles in their lives. So seeing him on TV, seeing Dr. Bill Dorfman write a book about cosmetic dentistry, The $1 Billion Smile. There was another book called, I think, Ronald Goldstein, I think it was called Just Smile. I started to say, this is something that I can package and present to the world and help change lives like Dr. Ronald Goldstein and Dr. Bill Dorfman has. So that's when I was really clear that this was something that I could really take to the masses.
So was this the moment when you first realized you weren't going to play the game like everyone else does, that you were going to do something different?
Yes. Well, the moment that was game-changing was when I was in my residency, and that's how I made it to New York City from University of Maryland. I was going to New York, so I thought, for a year to do my residency, and I got asked a game-changing question. And that question was, what's going to make you different if you stay in New York particularly? What's going to make you different from the rest of the dentists? There are thousands of dentists here. And that really made me think. And at the time, during the residency, one of the ways that I entertained myself and got stress relief was by hanging out at the comedy clubs in the village of New York. And so I would go every Sunday with one of my co-residents, and I started to get introduced to the world of entertainment and comedy and started to meet comedians. And one of the comedians said, Catrise, what are you going to leave now that this residency is coming to a close? And I'm like, I don't want to. And he said, well, why don't you just stay and treat us? Like, we need, we're in front of the cameras. We need to have a beautiful smile. You're hanging around comedians and entertainers. Why don't you just become the dentist to the stars? And I was like, aha, this is it. This is already a part of my lifestyle. I love dentistry, so why don't I marry the two? Well, once I finished the residency and I needed to get a job, I did what people did back then. I looked into help wanted ads. Remember those? Help wanted ads. And I started to do interviews, and I started to temp with temp agencies. And as I went into different practices, which was a great thing to do, to kind of see different ways that different people practice, I discovered, wow, some dentists aren't sanitary. There was one time where I was given one needle. Here is your syringe to use all day. You're going to take a toothbrush, you're going to scrub it with soap, and you're going to reuse it. And I'm like, no, the hell I'm not. I was like, I can't do this. There was one instance where a little boy needed a composite on the front tooth that had chipped. I only was given one color, like an A3, a dark yellow, but the tooth was white. And I'm like, I can't do this. I need to do this my way. And that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to have to start my own practice. I'm going to need to start dentistry and do it my way, because I can't do this.
Was there a time when you were kind of finding yourself in dentistry where you felt like your path was just maybe too small, or where you hit a wall and you had to reassess and figure things out?
Yeah, that was the wall. When, I see a lot of young dentists right now hitting that wall. They have a perception of what their dental life is going to be. And then when you get into the real world, you kind of find out that you didn't learn the business of dentistry, or you didn't know, especially like me, I didn't grow up with dentists in my family. So I didn't know what to expect. And temping in those offices and realizing that dentistry could be, not as glamorous and done ethically as I wanted to practice dentistry, that wall was like, what am I going to do now? And I didn't come from money. I didn't have savings. And so it was like, how am I going to start this practice? And so I went to the SBA office, and I'm like, okay, I need counseling. I need a business plan. I need to know how I can get funding. And my SBA officer and the counselor said, you know what? I met this Black female endodontist in the library, and I think that she would be a good mentor for you. And her name was Dr. Karen Gear. And she took me underneath her wings, and she was like, okay, if you don't have money, then you can rent space out of someone else's office. You can start small and build your practice that way. And that was really eye-opening for me, because she introduced me to a gentleman, Dr. Albert Thompson, who was on 57th Street, Black male dentist who had been on 57th Street for 30 years, this is now Billionaires Row across the street from Carnegie Hall. This is like prime real estate. He was established, and I went to meet him, and he said, you know what? I like your vision. You want to be the dentist to the stars? I actually don't know if you could pull this off. Like, how are you going to do this? I actually want to see you do this. So, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to not charge you rent. I'm gonna let you come here. You just get the bare necessities of what you need to operate. I want to see if you could do this. And when I see you start to make money, that's when I'll start charging you rent. But you have this vision. Okay, let me see you, young lady, put your skills to work. And that's what I did. And it was go time then. So I had the opportunity, I had the space, I had the vision. So now it's just go. There's no barriers. The money thing, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
That's one hell of a mentor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have a lot of confidence. What is the wellspring from which you draw it? And has there been a time in your career where the odds just seem stacked against you, or something happened where your confidence completely failed you? And what did you do?
Confidence came from Mama Austin, that fight, that hustle and grit, not taking no for an answer. She's definitely the foundation. And then immersing myself in courses in personal development. We talked about yesterday all the books that you have here in your library studio. That was one of the things that she taught me. You read, you get the knowledge, and once you have the knowledge, you implement the things that you learn. So I had the confidence because of how I was raised. Confidence, loss of confidence. I don't think I lost confidence until I actually sold my business and I had to discover, who am I now? Now that I'm not the Dr. Austin that everybody knows, I lost that baby, the identity, the thing that gave me my identity. Who are you now? And I think that's when I went into a little bit of imposter syndrome, a little bit of depression, I would say. Because once I sold my business, I lost friends because I realized my relationship with them was based on me being this celebrity dentist on 57th Street and being able to treat them. My colleagues looked at me different. Well, she's not this, she's not doing what she used to do, so she doesn't have the value. She's lost her oomph. And how did I overcome that? I think the pandemic, because I sold my business in 2017, 2018, having that time in the house to just think, what is the next move? What is my end? I started to kind of dig deep and think about the other skills and everything that I had done to build the brand. And people would ask me all the time, how did you do it? I started to rebrand myself as a branding coach, as a expert, and started my podcast and discovered what my and was. And I'm not just a dentist. I am a media expert. I am someone that has networking skills. I am someone that loves to be in front of the camera and entertain. I am someone that loves to host events and make people feel welcome and be a connector as well. So that's, I think, sitting in the house, being a little depressed, figuring it out, and then coming back out repackaged helped me overcome some of the things that I was experiencing. The perceived failure of not being a cosmetic dentist with my own practice again. That's how I overcame it.
So, it's funny. We've got 3 books here on my shelf that you've written, and you're autographing these later.
Absolutely.
But I just heard another book in what you were saying there, and the title should be Finding Your And.
Ooh, I like that.
Because so many of us, we put ourselves in a box and we say, I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a this. But unless you're a this and a this and a this and a this, whenever suddenly your reality changes, your world shifts, and you're standing on shifting intellectual ground where you're really not sure who you are anymore. So I think that could be a powerful book.
I think so. I think dentists, Dr. Thompson, Albert Thompson, my mentor, he worked well into his 80s. And I think it was because when dentists think about retiring and they don't have that, and they think about how lonely their life is going to be. What am I going to do now? I'm just going to sit at home and not be that Dr. Thompson or whatever your name is. That's a scary thought. So some dentists work into the last drop until they can't, because they're afraid of losing that identity as the doctor, the successful doctor.
I think a lot of them would say that they do it because they love it.
Yes,
and
that too.
perhaps they do love certain aspects of it. I think we've all had those patients, though, and that make you question I was questioning my life choices.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So, starting your journey in your first practice and your journey into becoming the dentist to the stars, talk to us a little bit about that. I happen to know you would, kind of, I wouldn't say bully your way in, but you definitely intrude into VIP rooms and talk to people before anyone knew your name and tell them that you should be their dentist.
Yes.
And, what gave you the courage to do that? Where many dentists it would be so far out of their comfort zone that they just couldn't even tackle it.
Yeah. I discovered the story of when I was 12 years old, and this goes back to hip hop. When I was 12 years old, this new rap group called Run DMC came to Flint, Michigan. And I was watching TV and heard the song on the radio. So when I knew they were coming to this roller skating rink in my town, I'm like, okay, I got to go meet this group. Love them, love the song. Something told me to write a fan letter, because that's what we did back in the 80s. You wrote a fan letter. So I wrote this long fan letter telling them how much I loved them. And I took it to the event and I slipped it under. I found out where the dressing room door was and I slipped it underneath the door. And lo and behold, the young Russell Simmons, who was their manager, who went on to become a mogul, he came out and he said, "Who wrote this letter?" And I'm like, me. And he said, "You want to come back and meet the guys?" So I was ecstatic. And I have all the pictures. It's fascinating when I go back and look at this story. So I go in the dressing room at 12 years old. I'm meeting young Run DMC, taking pictures, take my girlfriend back there. And Russell Simmons says, "Well, here's my business card." And it was like, keep in touch. And so that was a great experience. But then a few months later, the first hip hop tour started called the Fresh Fest. And it came to Saginaw, Michigan, about an hour away. And I'm like, "Mom, we got to go to the Fresh Fest because Run DMC is there and LL Cool J and all of these legendary acts are going to be there, now legendary acts." And she's like, "Okay, cool. We're going to the Fresh Fest." I don't know what made me do this, but I took the business card of Russell Simmons to the concert with me. And after the show, I'm like, "Mom, stay right here. I'll be right back. I'm going to go over to the security guard and let them know I'm friends with Russell Simmons." And I did it, and it worked. So now I'm backstage at the first hip hop concert, get all the pictures as well with the Fat Boys and LL Cool J. And I'm like, okay, what made me have that instinct to take that business, the power of a business card, and use it at 12 years old? So for me, I'm like, this is something that is natural for me. I don't know where that came from, because at 12, I should not have had that instinct, but it is something that I'm born with, I do believe. So I just carried that over to my business. So when it was time to go out and hit the streets of New York, I'm hitting all the hot spots. And one of the hot spots was P. Diddy's restaurant. It's called Justin's. And every Tuesday, all the top celebrities, the Derek Jeters, the Mariah Careys, are hanging out there. And this was the other place that I would go and send out my business cards, pass them out. But one day I see this legendary music icon that my mom used to play his records, Mr. Isaac Hayes. Shut Your Mouth. You know him from Chef, and the younger generation might know him from South Park. He was the chef on the show. And I see him sitting there having dinner at the restaurant, and I'm a little nervous because he's Isaac Hayes. And I'm like, gosh, should I go over there and interrupt this dinner? I don't think so. It took me about an hour, and I said, you know what? I'm doing it. F it. I'm doing it. I'm going over there. What's the worst that can happen? So I go over there and I have my elevator pitch together. "Hey, I'm Dr. Catrise Austin. Sorry to interrupt your dinner. Here's my card. I'm a dentist." here in New York City. I don't know if you have a dentist. I don't know if you're looking for a new dentist, but I would love to be your dentist. He looks at me, he looks at the card, and he says in his deep voice, young lady, I ain't never seen a dentist that looked like you. Would you like to sit down and have dinner with me? And that was the moment that changed my life. Sat down, had dinner, great conversation. And he says, I'm going to support you in any way that I can. And that's how I secured my first celebrity client. He sent his assistant to check me out, make sure I was legit. She was my age. We hit it off, and she gave me the thumbs up, and he became my first celebrity client. And that was all that networking and hustle and being fearless and thinking, what's the worst that can happen? All I can get is a no. And that turned into the life-changing experience that kind of sparked my career.
That's a fantastic story. I didn't know that one, actually. So you've just begun your journey towards success, but on that journey, on that road trip to success, we always bring other passengers with us. Doubt, fear. So what passengers were you carrying? Be specific.
Well, there was a little doubt. I had confidence, especially after I acquired Isaac Hayes, but doubt came from my family, which was very shocking. My mother's sister wrote me a 4-page handwritten letter about, you're going to be this celebrity dentist. You are jumping the gun. You need to crawl before you walk. You need to just get a job. You're going to be hanging around all these celebrities. You're going to end up pregnant and you're going to ruin your life. Why don't you just take the safe route? So, that stuck in my head because you don't expect to get that from someone that you grew up with that knows your core values and who you are. So that stuck in my head. Like, am I jumping the gun? Should I play it safe? But I had Mama Austin that, was like, you got this. You already got, you already won. You got your first celebrity client. You can do this. She also loved Hayes, so Yeah, she said, the next thing all you really need now is a publicist, and I'm like, what's a publicist? Oh, it's the person that can help you get on TV and get in the media and kind of amplify your message. I was at a women's conference and I met this publicist. She happens to be the publicist for Eddie Murphy. I have her card. Her name is Terry Williams. Why don't you just give her a call? Okay, cool. I'll cold call her up, and she's like, wow, this is a great story. You have Isaac Hayes as your client. You're young, you're Black, you're 28. You're on 57th Street. This is an amazing story, but I work with corporate clients and celebrities. I charge like $50,000 a month for my PR services, but I do have a young lady that is a publicist, and you should call her, Renee Foster. So I cold call Renee Foster, tell her the story, and she's like, great. I don't have a dentist. You need publicity. Why don't we just barter services? I don't have insurance, so I'll do your PR. You do my teeth, and let's blow this thing up. And once I started to get a taste of getting on TV, getting quoted in articles, and the power of what media and exposure can do, I was like, oh, it's game on. I have a platform. And if I get on TV and I get quoted in magazines, I'm reaching hundreds, thousands, millions of people. You can't stop me. All I got to do is talk my talk. All I got to do is share my message of the power of a smile, and there's no stopping me. So that was a turning point, that the platform that I have access to can help me amplify, and I will be successful.
There's a lot to unpack there. I guess my first question is your aunt's letter. Have you ever heard of crabs in a bucket?
I've heard the term, but I don't know what that means.
So have you ever been out crabbing?
No.
Okay, so when you're crabbing, you use your bait, chicken neck, chicken leg, things like that, and toss it out, and you pull it in slowly. The crabs grab a hold of it, you pull them in with a net, put them in a bucket. Well, every now and then, when we get a few crabs in the bucket, one will make it just to the edge, and he's just about to get out. He's pulling himself over the top, and the next crab below him grabs his leg and pulls him back down. And that's very, very distinctly, that's the thought I had about that letter.
Yeah, it stuck with me. It made me look at her in a different way. I resented that letter. And she went on later in her later years to apologize and say she was wrong once she saw how it actually worked. But yeah, that is very similar.
So you talked a little bit about the power of celebrity and the doors it kind of opened for you. But I think something that's not talked about a lot is the price. Whenever you're out in public, you're always on. There's never a moment when anyone can see you. Hesitate to call it the paparazzi, but it's the paparazzi, where you can be just your authentic self without worrying that something that you do or say is going to be used against you or used to frame you in a bad light. Is there a point at which that weight became heavy for you?
It's a lot of pressure, and for all the young dentists out there that think they want to be famous, the great Biggie Smalls said, "More money, more problems." And with that celebrity becomes the lawsuits, verbalists, whether it's true or not. The lawsuits come, the scrutiny, every smile makeover has to be perfect. You feel the pressure to deliver. And if something in dentistry, things go wrong. Crowns don't fit, crowns come off, things happen, but that you get judged at a higher standard because you're supposed to be perfect. Your life is supposed to be perfect. I do pride myself when social media came about that I was going to be authentic. I kind of do what I want and I say what I want, and I enjoy that. You will see me living my authentic life. I'm not worried about being judged. If I'm dancing, if I'm twerking, if I'm doing whatever, if I'm at an event, I'm literally just showing you what my life is. And if I'm not trying to project myself that I'm this high class Dr. Appa style practice, I am so authentic. You're going to get what you see is what you get. So I kind of alleviated myself from some of those things because if I'm not your cup of tea, there's a dentist in my building around the corner, down the street that you could get your flavor. So that I am very happy that I didn't have to live up to certain standards, but the pressure of being perfect in dentistry and getting judged for my work, and particularly with social media, you post your before and afters. I feel like the colleagues are posting their before and afters, not even for the patients, it's for their colleagues to see that I have perfect margins. It's like, look at my work. And for me, dentistry isn't about me at all. It's about the patient. So what I'm selling in dentistry is different than what a lot of cosmetic dentists are selling. They're selling teeth. I'm selling the feeling, the power of a smile. I'm selling confidence. I'm selling happiness. I'm selling a lifestyle that the people on the other side, they want that, because the beauty of this is I understand firsthand what dentistry can do for your life. So I think my path is a little bit different than others. Now, about a year ago, Cardi B's veneer, one of my most famous clients, Cardi B, her veneer popped off, and she decided to go on social media and look at my teeth. And I'm like, holy shit, this is not what I need. Because now I'm getting the questions of why did the veneer fall off? You must,
because it's a veneer.
Because it's a veneer. But the people on the other side on social media don't understand that the things that can happen with your own teeth can happen with veneers, crowns. And so that was very frustrating. But what I did is I turned it into a learning lesson. I used the media. And I said, well, let me address this, that people need to know that crowns come off. It happened to Nelly before the Super Bowl. These things happen. And I know firsthand, and Cardi B has shown you in videos that she cracks crabs with her teeth. I'm waiting for a call from her every time she does it. But the public needs to know that veneers aren't perfect. These things can happen. And I turned it into a veneer maintenance story. And so I was able to flip that. And that's the power of understanding the media and how you could take a negative story, and politicians and musicians do it all the time. That's what I love about my knowledge of media, because I knew how to turn that into a positive story and take the pressure off. But did my colleagues point that out to me? Hell yeah, they did. Did patients DM me, or I read the comments, and I probably shouldn't. But I said, I need to know what's being said about this. But those are some of the things that the public scrutiny I had to learn how to deal with. But it's okay, because I know how to deal with it and use it to my advantage.
There's a lot there. First, story brand marketing. We actually had a conversation about that yesterday. The story is always the patient's. It's not the dentist's.
Yes.
But I think I had a thought here, and your story brings to light something I hadn't even thought of, which is in the age of HIPAA and this litigious society, being a dentist to the celebrities, you really have some unique challenges there just because of the notoriety of your patients. I mean, everyone can get a bad Google review, and, we all want to answer those as truthfully as we want to, but we're not allowed.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I just a part of my consent with every patient is a consent to photograph and videotape. I just make it as a general part of the consent, so it's easier for them to say no than to ask. So that's a part of the consent. So when you hear me talking about celebrities, who my clients are, all of the celebrities that I name, I'm able to name. Even with Cardi B, she gave me a stipulation, and we videotaped her entire smile makeover. But the stipulation was, I don't want a before and after ever shown side by side, because I don't want folks to remember the old me. I want them to focus on the new me. So I never post before and afters, because that's what she requested. So, and I still haven't released a video of her procedure, me doing the procedure yet. And I think there's a time that I may do it, I know that before is sacred for her. So I think I haven't, because I respect her wishes, and to show that video, I have to kind of show the before. So I'm very conscious of that. Of their wishes, and all of my patients, I'm respectful of HIPAA. I don't want to get sued. I don't want to say something wrong and talk too much. So for those who want to share their stories, we videotape it. My YouTube, I have smile stories where people tell their own stories in conjunction with me being on video. And I think that's the best, like we said, stories. I think that's the best way to highlight my smile stories, because those stories are going to connect with the audience who's out there having the same pain points. And I think that's the best way that I could market my business. I love, before and afters are great, but the story is what sells.
I completely agree. Now, there's a very fine line between being fearless and being reckless. Were there times whenever some of the moves that you made felt reckless? And how did you know the difference?
I can't say, is there anything that I could say that's reckless? That's a tough one. There isn't a smile makeover that I felt that I put out there that I shouldn't have. I honestly have to say there isn't a time that I felt like something that I did was reckless, because that's not in my character. In my head, there were times that I wanted to. I want to write the book. That's like if my chair could talk, my dental chair could talk, I would like to write the book. But I do care about my reputation. I have had some negative Google reviews, and like you said, there's one in particular where I'm like, this chick is lying through her teeth. You know, she says I'm heartless, I don't care, I treated her this way, that way. And my answer to that is, and anyone can write, in business, let's just say this, in business, you're going to get, most people, when I see someone that has all 5 stars, they never had a complaint. You know, I look at that, so I'm like, you never had a customer complaint. So I don't look at a negative review as, you know, it stings a little bit, but I can respond to that. And the way I responded to that is, you guys, if you're reading this review, you can look at all the rest of the reviews and you can make a judgment call on my character. If you have, 50 positive reviews and 1 negative review, and you really read through, you can really make a judgment call on my character. So that's up for debate. And that's basically how I responded. If you really look at, the reviews on how life-changing, how I am, the care that I took, I'm not a reckless dentist, so you can take this as you may. And that's what I do when I'm looking for food and I'm looking at restaurants, and that's literally how I find a lot of my wonderful restaurants. I'll look at the negative reviews and then I'll look at the positive reviews, and I'm like, okay, that person they just had a bad day. And it happens in business that you can have an off day, but my general character or my general service, you can kind of discern.
So we talk about building brands a lot, and you talk about building brands, but really you built a category. I mean, hip hop dentist. I mean, maybe they had some celebrity dentists. There's a couple of them in the past, but that category didn't exist until you made it real. Was there a moment of clarity where you knew that's exactly how you wanted to be seen? I think once I started to acquire those clients, one of the networking relationships that I developed was with a young lady, Mona Scott Young, and she was a manager for some of the hottest artists, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, P. Diddy, and her roster, LL Cool J, her roster was incredible. And once we got an award together, and once we built a relationship, that's how I got a lot of my big entertainers back in the day. But once I started to treat these patients, I knew that this is my element. This is what I grew up with. I told you the story of my connection with hip hop. So I knew that was the niche that I wanted to treat, or where I would really be authentically myself. I did have some guides in New York City. There was Latucci and Lowenberg that saw a lot of the supermodels. There was Dr. Larry Rosenthal. So I did have them for a guide, and I actually temped when I was in my temping phase. I had the opportunity to temp for Latucci and Lowenberg. They now see Chris Rock and 50 Cent and a lot of celebrities. So I did get a little taste of what that celebrity dentistry was like, got an inside look at it, and I was like, well, I can flip it. And my demographic would be hip hop. I don't see supermodels. I'm not in that world, but my world is hip hop. And if they can do it, then I can do it and just flip it. So they were my inspiration. And I felt, like I said, hip hop was the genre that's one of my favorite genres of music. I was in the entertainment world hanging out with hip hop and comedians. So I was like, this is naturally a fit for me. So did you ever worry as you were on this journey that the choice to limit yourself to such a narrow band would limit you professionally? Or was this feeling that this was the authentic path for you just so great that was never a concern?
It was my authentic path, but the key for me was everybody, my goal, because hip hop artists don't pay the bills. They come in when there's emergencies, when they have a special event. My marketing message is that you too can have a VIP. In my practice called VIP Smiles, strategically, I want everybody to feel like a VIP. I want everybody to feel like they can acquire a VIP smile, that smile that when you walk into a room, it radiates. I want you to have the VIP experience. I don't treat my celebrity clients and my normal, everyday, hardworking clients any different, except they may be able to get me out the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning to come in and treat them, whereas the average person may not. But other than that, I wanted everybody to feel that they could have the VIP experience, and that's what I live by today. I want everybody to feel like a star. And I think they appreciate that. We were talking yesterday, back in the day, we didn't have Netflix, but I would have VHS tapes and you could pull your movie, and that's how I had the player right in the room. Or I had the massage chairs, the things, spa dentistry. I was like, well, this is what celebrities like. I want everybody to feel like they're comfortable. I know a pain point in dentistry is people are afraid. So how can I make dentistry comfortable for them? I know I can make them feel comfortable with my demeanor and how I'm going to treat them as a client. I'm not doing 30-minute cleanings. You're going to get a thorough experience. You're going to feel like you were treated like a star, and you're going to understand your oral conditions, and I'm going to teach you how to never, if you came in with gum disease, I don't want you to have that mistake ever again. So as a part of my experience to educate them, I want to see them change their habits so they literally could have a better lifestyle and a healthier mouth, which leads to a healthier overall body.
Yeah, absolutely. I did something similar in my practice because I did a lot of full mouth restorations. One of the things that a lot of those patients have in common is fear. And I thought deeply about that. And one of the biggest things that will bring fear response out in a person are sounds and smells.
Yes.
And so I outlawed the use of eugenol in my entire practice because you don't really smell that smell anywhere except for at the dentist, aside from the issues that it can cause with bonding, depending upon what your activator for the bond is. I felt that removing that sense from the equation might lessen their worry about the experience.
I'm glad you said that. I always had some type of aromatics, candles, diffusers,
scented hand towels.
Oh, yes.
They love those.
Oh, they love those. That was a hit. The paraffin wax. And I also work with the anesthesiologist for those who are really, really fearful of the dentist. Whatever barrier, that was the key for me. Whatever barrier that you have, I'm going to have a solution for it. And so no matter who you are, I wanted you to feel like I got an answer for that. You're afraid? Okay, we can give you laughing gas. We can give you a pill. We can put you out altogether. Whatever it is, we're going to get this work done because you need to have this smile and be healthy.
I love that message. So anytime you're in the spotlight, that's where the nasty people are going to find you. So what's the first time that someone mocked the brand, and how did you respond to that? And last, was it a dentist or was it a patient? I can see you choosing your words carefully.
It was a celebrity that I approached, like I do at events at the ESPY Awards after party. And I was a big fan of hers. And I did my normal, like, Isaac Hayes spiel. And she literally laughed in my face, like, celebrity dentist. Like, who do you think you are that you could treat me? What is a celebrity dentist? I'm like, wow, like it had been so successful that it took me aback, and because I was a big fan of hers, it hurt my feelings a lot. a question, and I had been doing it for a couple years, and it still made me question whether am I a celebrity dentist? I don't know. It took me back. But then I just realized that she's just one person, and it has been successful. And I am a celebrity dentist, and you just don't get it, and your loss. It's your loss. If you don't get the vision that I've set forth that's actually working, then okay, you're not the right fit for me. But that was the first mocking. And maybe she had a few, it was the ESPY Awards after party and the drinks were flowing. So maybe she had a few drinks. But yeah, that was the first time that I felt that.
I bet that
because
just
it was
gave you a warm fuzzy inside.
Like, how dare you?
So, I mean, this brings out an interesting question. When do you know that your branding is real versus performative? Because there's, the old adage, fake it till you make it. You have to have the confidence that what you're building is truth. When do you know?
I think that when you start to convert, when you start to, what you're doing is actually bringing patients through the door, and they're repeat customers, and they're referring. So monetarily, and because I was watching the numbers, I saw the growth year by year. I didn't know what I was doing when I first started. I kind of asked this dentist, how do you do this? This dentist, how do you do this? I started to understand the business of dentistry when I invested in consulting. My first consultant was Sally McKenzie. I read all the dental journals, and she used to write articles, and I admired that. So when I had the resource to hire a consultant, maybe year 2 of my business, I started to understand the business of dentistry and the numbers you're supposed to track. So that was very, very helpful. So as I did the marketing, and I had the marketing budget, and then I saw month by month how the practice was growing, I'm like, okay, this it's just working. I like to say, when I hit the streets of New York before I started the practice, I think my mother would tell, she doesn't like the word, the fake it till you make it. And that's what I say I was doing. I didn't even have a practice when I reached out to Isaac Hayes. I had to hurry up and make that deal with Dr. Thompson to have a place to see him. So I was manifesting, faking it until I made it. But I always had a level of authenticity. And when you came to me, you got the experience that I said you were going to have, and it converted. So I think it's okay to have a vision, because I led with vision. When I was out in those streets, I was leading with what I had in store and the kind of dentistry that I was going to deliver to you that was different at that time than most of the general dentists that were my competition. I kept in mind Latucci and Lowenberg, Larry Rosenthal, and the celebrity Dr. Dorfman, and I had that as my vision. And so I knew I had my role models of that it could work, and I just kept that in mind. I know it was different being a Black female dentist doing it, but I enjoyed that. It was a pleasure to let everybody know that I can do this too. It's just I'm remixing it a little bit.
So, there's an old adage. Do you know what they call someone who takes pictures after they get paid for their first picture?
No.
A professional photographer.
Ooh, I love that.
So as your audience shifted over time, from celebrity patients to younger dentists watching the moves that you're making and trying to emulate you, and is that kind of a mixed blessing? How do you feel about it?
Yes. Yes, the audience has changed. I think and I actually had someone express this to me, when My smile makeover with Cardi B, it was a big deal. I got a call from, first of all, we taped it, and it was a season premiere episode on VH1's hottest show, Love and Hip Hop. So that showed, I love that she was willing to show her smile makeover to inspire people. She was really big on that because people talked about her season 1 when she was on the show and her teeth was less than perfect. She's a very confident girl, but that was an insecurity. So for her, it's like, let's do this. I want you to be my dentist, because Mona Scott Young, who was the once manager, was the producer of the show Love and Hip Hop. That's how I got Cardi B. That old relationships recycling to, coming back and being a blessing. So when she decided she was going to do this smile makeover, and she wanted to make it public, and it was the season premiere episode, it inspired a lot of people. It inspired dentists to want to do what I did and become celebrity dentists. And then when Cardi B took it a step further and put it in her first #1 hit song called Bodak Yellow, she put a line in there. She didn't say my name, but there's a famous line, the most popular part of the song, which is a declaration of what I did for her. The line goes, "Got a bag of money and fix my teeth. Hope you hoes know it ain't cheap." So it was kind of a braggadocious declaration of, I made it. I got my money. I got my smile makeover. It wasn't cheap. And here I am. What are you going to say about me now? I took away the one thing, that one insecurity that you guys used to talk about. Now what do you got to say? And so that inspired consumers to learn about porcelain veneers, because then they started to Google, well, who's Cardi B's dentist? Young dentists started to say, hey, I want to do veneers. I want to learn how to do that. I want to do this for people. So yes, I started to, in 2016, that's when I got a dual audience, young dentists that wanted to do what I did, and more people. Nobody really talked about their veneers publicly. Who your dentist was, you kind of kept as a secret. But once she let it out, and TMZ called me when that song went #1, on Billboard, they called me the next day. Are you the dentist that did the smile makeover? And once TMZ called my office and I was on TMZ, game changer. Business tripled. Business went out of this world, and that was the defining moment. So when the pandemic came, I thought about, and I was in the house, how can I package this to help dentists understand how I did this? Because I would get the questions all the time. How did you build your brand? And that's when the celebrity branding and the fame formula came into effect.
I've always thought that TMZ should unleash their reporters to find the Epstein files. Obviously, the government can't locate them.
They can do it. If anybody can, TMZ can.
So let's talk real. Whenever you first started, how did you finance your brand? I mean, you were broke, right?
Oh, yeah.
Were you bootstrapping it?
Bootstrapping it. I mean, thank God, the #1, thank you, Dr. Albert Thompson, because I didn't need a lot of money. I had my side hustle. I was still temping as I built the office. I was temping, and I had a job with the city of New York. At the time, they had a school dentistry program. So I would go into the schools and do dentistry, pull the kids out of class and do dentistry right in school, which was very gratifying because I knew that a lot of those kids would have never got to the dentist without that program. So I had my side hustle. I was making money. So whatever money I had, I would take some of that and get the composite and the things that I needed. And again, Dr. Thompson giving me that opportunity to not pay him rent to get myself established was a game changer. The only other way I would have done it was to get a loan from the SBA and build it up that way. But I didn't have to because of the opportunity that I was given. I mean, I think I owe him so much, and the guidance of Dr. Karen Gear. Having her as a resource, as a Black female role model was very helpful as well. But that is how I financed. I bootstrapped and then ultimately got business loans when I needed to get equipment, when I needed to hire those expensive practice consultants, because that's not cheap. But I needed to do those things once I had established credit and was able to get a loan. I got a loan when I needed it to expand the practice.
So I don't know if you've ever heard me say this or any other dentist say it. Brown scrub day. You're familiar with it? Okay, brown scrub day. Brown scrub day is whenever you go in and you know that with a certain patient, with a certain procedure, something's going to go wrong. So you better wear brown scrubs. So what was your biggest oh shit moment where you thought, I've just screwed up or something has happened, it's just all going to fall apart?
Ooh. Man, oh man. I think I haven't had too many oh shit moments, but it's probably when I had a patient. Again, you're supposed to be perfect. Oh gosh. That I screwed it up. Man, I think it's one of those times where I had a person come in from out of town, and that's always, you really need to be perfect when they're flying from out of town to see you. And it was just one of those things where the case just did not fit. And that's a hard conversation to have with someone. But again, being honest, and then some dentists, you can make a crown work, to avoid having that conversation. But that's not in my core values. I don't make things work. I try to deliver quality dental care. So had to have the conversation. I know you flew in from Dallas, I think it was. I know you flew in from Dallas. I'm just not happy with this case, and I, in good conscience, can't deliver this case. Could I make it work? Yes. Should I make it work? No. And unfortunately, it's going to require that you wear these temporary teeth a little bit longer, and I know you were expecting them, and for that, I'm very, very sorry to disappoint you, but this is something that you're going to have potentially for a lifetime. So I'd rather have one extra visit, and you come back and I go back to my dental artists and have them redo the case than to deliver something that I know may fail sooner than later. And so it's just communication, and I'm not afraid to have the hard conversations because I do want to deliver a level of excellence. And that may be the difference between myself and other dentists, because they don't have the communication skills. They'd rather deal with it later than to deal with it now. And at some point when you deliver shoddy work, it is going to come back and bite you. And I'd rather be honest and deliver quality. So had the hard conversation and it all worked out, but nobody wants to pay for extra flight, extra hotel and deal with that. But I'm real, and I want to deliver the best care possible.
Fantastic advice out there for you young dentists. Don't be a make-it-work dentist. They give us all a bad name.
It really does. And it's more trouble in the long haul.
I 100% agree. So you were so vulnerable telling me about this story. I'm going to tell you about my biggest brown scrub day.
Okay.
So I'm installing 6 implants on the lower, and everything is planned out. We've got our CBCT created surgical guide, and I'm just tarking in the implants because, you've drilled them, you've placed them, you're getting the final tark on everything. You're making sure, because you want to give a little time for the viscoelasticity of the bone to normalize before you put your final tark rating on them. And so I'm tarking them in, and I get 40 Newton centimeters, 45 Newton centimeters, tarking them in. I get to the next one, 35, and something told me just to leave it there. I was like, no, I think I can get a little bit more. So I turn a little bit more on the torque wrench, and something weird happens. It just doesn't feel right. I look down, and I don't see the fixture of the implant. So in retrospect, as I look back on the CBCT afterwards, I see an area where the Hounsfield units, even though they're still high, they're lower than they should be. So I do a cross section of the jaw, and sure enough, there is a cavern in the alveolus.
Holy cow!
And the implant had just dropped right in.
Oh my God!
And it was sitting on the nerve.
Oh my God!
So I took a deep breath and thought about all the curse words I wanted to scream, and thought about crying. And I looked at the patient. I said, "Well, that's suboptimal."
You think?
So I tell my assistant, "Hey, I want you to go ahead and get me the perio probe that has the engraved indentions on it, not the one that's laser cut, and bring it back with the X-ray unit." Go ahead, and I put the perio probe against the alveolus, take an X-ray, do a slightly different angle, take an X-ray so I can find exactly the depth, cut a window in the side after flapping the mucosa, very, very gingerly remove the implant because it's sitting right on the nerve and I can see the nerve. And I'm like, I can't believe I missed this, right? And pulled some blood, mixed up some PRF, threw in a membrane, threw in the supernatant with the bone graft, and packed it in, closed it on up. And I said, well, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for this one. Your bone was just not in a good mood today. And I should have seen it on the X-ray, and that is my fault entirely. So I apologize that it is going to take a little bit longer, but I want it done right, and I want it to last for the rest of your life, or at least as long as it can. But there's a lot of commonality there. Own the problem. Don't deflect. Admit what you've done. Don't make it your fault, but do say it's your fault.
Yeah.
And there's a special balance that goes on with that.
How did you know, if you've never experienced that before, there's something to say about being able to deal with complications when they arise? How did you innately, is this something, had you learned how to deal with a complication like that?
No, never. It wasn't in any course I've ever taken. I've taken, goodness, 650 hours of implant CE. No, believe it or not, I had a flashback to dental school, and they were talking about developing dentition in my pediatric segment of all things. And they talked about doing Waters views and doing all of those alternate views by moving the X-ray around to form a three-dimensional puzzle pieces, so you could put them together and figure out where the roots were, if there was impingement upon the succedaneous tooth, and things like that. And that just hit me in that moment, and I said I could either stick her in the CBCT, and I could locate things like that, but I hadn't yet done the section, so I didn't know what was going wrong. So I thought, if I just had a different view of the bone, then I can make a plan. Because once I know what's going wrong, then I can make a plan that addresses that. And it was just a moment of inspiration.
Yeah, that's, I've had, different scenarios where I'm like, how did I know to do that? But it's innate.
I think it is. And once you've learned enough things, don't put your knowledge in boxes. I put mine on a web. I try to find what's connected to what, like the old crime movies where you have the pictures with all the strings between them. Mm-hmm. I try to figure out overlaps between the knowledge that I've got so that I can interconnect them for maximum usability. Just kind of the way I learn.
Is that something we can ultimately teach people?
I think it's something people can ultimately teach themselves. Mm-hmm. It's just a conscious exercise. So jumping back a little bit, you're treating these celebrities, and one of the things I think people don't think about, I mean, there's liability in treating celebrities and things like that, but building a capable team behind that seems to me to be a unique challenge. And, you think everyone outside of the front door just sees the bulb flashes, they see the finals, they see the pictures. what does it take to build the team behind the scenes that isn't going to be sycophantic and, oh, while you're sitting there and, Numb, can you go ahead and sign this picture for me? Or any number of things I'm not even thinking about. How do you build that team, and what concerns did you have to address?
That's where the consulting came in 100%. I learned that the team has to be on the same page. Number one was knowing your mission statement. Defining those core values were super important. Probably one of the single most important decisions of defining my core values, and every person that I hired had to have the same core values. Super, super key. Learning the whole team, we were trained on scripting, the numbers, not being afraid to share the numbers with the staff.
I'm so glad you said that.
You need to know, like, if you don't hit this benchmark, then we got to do something different. Or if you're wondering why I wasn't able to give you a raise, it's because we did not hit these numbers. What am I going to draw from to give you the raise? That was really, really eye-opening. Now, my office manager started off, because I just started off with a receptionist. It's very key. Isaac Hayes' assistant had a daughter that had just graduated from high school, and she needed a job. So I trained her from scratch, the business of dentistry, which was really, 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 really key, because she didn't come in with preconceived notions of dentistry and what we did in our old office. We literally grew together. And once she understood the business of dentistry, I was able to elevate her to management and then hire receptionists and dental assistants. So once I had those manuals, the scripting and the SOPs, standard operating procedures.
I love a good SOP.
Man, it's like I'm working on my SOPs now for my business now, but it's the base of your business, because taking pictures of the setup for the assistants. So everything is systemized, systems. And that was really the key to building the organization. And then externally, on the marketing end, I started to take the personal development courses and learn about marketing. And I learned about automation early and started using CRM systems like Keep, and finding someone who understood, it's called Keep now, but it used to be called Infusionsoft, and they used to call it Confusionsoft because it was such a detailed management system and automated system that I really had to find someone that knew how to do that. And using a CRM system outside of dentistry, because we started to get a little bit of automation and text messaging in dentistry, but I always tend to work outside of dentistry because you get kind of cookie cutter when you start using the same dental marketing company. So I always looked outside when I was doing personal development. I always started to work with people outside of dentistry, which kind of gave me the competitive edge as well, because I knew things about marketing that even the dental marketing companies didn't know. So that was really, really key. Again, thinking outside the box and using true experts. So automation and systems became a really big part of my business, and the team got to understand that as well.
I love the point you bring out there, working outside of dentistry. It's actually a conversation you and I had yesterday, so I'm glad we could bring it into the podcast. 100% agree. So I guess my next question for you is, as you were building and scaling and knowing that your focus was this concierge boutique type of experience, what systems did you put into place both to ensure functionality within the practice, but also in respect to preserving that type of a culture?
I just heavily believe in review, systems, daily huddles, morning huddles every day at 9:00, monthly team meetings, quarterly meetings, and just looking at how the business was operating so that you can make decisions early and not be fixing problems later. And I think that was the biggest key. And again, having the entire team, even the marketing team, you have numbers. I'm looking at this, my Google Analytics. Is this stuff that we're doing working? Are we converting these leads that I'm getting? Everything is based in numbers for the most part. And I think that was the key that really helped.
I love it. You said something there that is really near and dear to my heart, which is that your failures, they're really all opportunities, because in reality, you can build a system and fake test the system all you want, but until things start falling through the holes, you don't really know where the holes are. I mean, you built the systems, you built them because of holes you know about. It's hard to predict the holes you don't know about, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So what is one business decision that you made that just changed everything?
For the better or worse? Let's see, changed everything.
I didn't say better or worse. I left that up to you.
I know. I again have to go back to the answer of hiring that consultant, because I would have continued to do things the wrong way and not understand the business of dentistry, which it is. I love the title of your podcast and your platform, because it is business, and learning that business was the single most important thing, making that investment. And having worked with Sally McKenzie, but then I said I hit a wall. I got to a place where I'm like, okay, we're stagnant. There's got to be a next level to this. And I also read Roger Levin's articles in the dental journals, and I knew that he was really experienced in the business of dentistry. I also knew that he cost more than Sally McKenzie. So it's like, do you invest more?
Time to level up.
Time to level up. Yes, we got to do it. And I literally, and I thank Sally for the foundation, but I learned so much. Now, working with Roger, you had to go to Maryland. You had to actually shut your business down. You had to travel. Sally came to the office, and you had phone calls and such. You had to literally take that commitment, shut down your business, go and be immersed in this training. And there's something to be said about having people come to you and having that dedicated time. There's no distractions. You come to my office, the phone might be ringing, or I feel like I need, when you're in their element and you're in their teaching environment, you have no choice but to be immersed in that learning. And I think that was the big difference. Did it cost us to shut the office down a few days? Yes. Was it worth it to get the core material and have a plan and come back and implement it? Yes. Really the biggest business decision that made a difference in my brand. And then the other biggest business decision was the decision to, when my lease was up and I had to make a decision, was I going to continue on or not? The biggest decision to let it all go, because I have this other passion, that I want to pursue. And if I sign this lease and I continue on, I may not get to the end. Very tough decision.
I love it. You bring something up, that's something I noticed myself in my practice, and that was the phenomenon of leveling up. So my first consultant was remote. My next consultant came to my office, And, with the cost increase therein, my next consultant required that I go to them. And my final consultant required I bring the entire team. And so it hit me one day that there was something to that. And so I actually implemented that in clinical training as well. It didn't matter what kind of clinical training I was taking. The team came with me.
Same
and
here.
My Lord, it was expensive. But we made so much more difference in people's lives. We made so much more profit when the team was inclusive in that decision-making process and the learning process.
Yes.
They got it. I didn't have that phenomenon where the dentist goes to CE on the weekend, comes back Monday morning,
Excited.
says we're going to change everything.
Yeah.
And by Wednesday, they're like, okay.
Yeah. I truly believe that you should take your staff to CE. I'm in New York, and I have the pleasure of having one of the greatest, largest dental conventions in North America, the Greater New York Dental Meeting. So that was, and even though it's Thanksgiving weekend, I always question that, but it was pretty much a requirement that you need to take. There's a track for assistants and hygienists, for auxiliary staff, and I'm taking classes as well. I'm always taking hands-on courses. If there's a choice between didactic and hands-on, particularly for cosmetic dentistry, I'm hands-on all day. One of the keys for me building up my skills in cosmetic dentistry early, my first veneers were done in 1999. I joined the AACD, American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, and it was one of those things when that course list hit in September, October, those hands-on courses, they're going first. So it was like, when's registration day? It's like getting the hottest concert. When do these Prince tickets go on sale? I got to get in these courses. And I literally helped my staff understand the importance. And they went to all those conferences. And yes, it's expensive to get all those hotel rooms, those airline tickets, but it was super important in the growth, the professional development of my staff too. So I believe that when you build a team of rock stars and leaders, they will not only lead dentistry, they will crush dentistry. So everybody, not only was I a rock star, people still ask me about Michelle, my receptionist turned office manager. Mama Austin came in from Michigan and worked on my insurance verifications a couple times a month. They still ask about Mama Austin. Everybody in the business was a rock star in their own right. I could walk out the room and, patients usually ask questions when the doctor, do I really need that crown? Is this really true? And the staff could back me up. And that was super key.
100%. So you've already been very authentic and very vulnerable in some of your answers here. And I'm going to ask you to dig deeper. So,
oh boy.
When the Cardi B moment happened and the world saw the headlines or the video, how did you feel privately? What did you go through?
Well, it was super exciting because I had no idea that this was going to happen to me. So it was exciting. A little bit of imposter syndrome because now I really have to be perfect. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Now every case has to be perfect. No mistakes can be made if you are Cardi B's dentist. But mostly exciting. A little bit of vindication that all the haters that doubted me, it was kind of like a badge of a little Auntie Angela that wrote that letter. Ha ha. You see what I was able to do? It was the mama I made it moment. So I had a little bit of vindication. The marketing and branding that I had done, the PR and all those things, I was ready for the moment. So I was ready, so I didn't have to get ready at that time when that moment came. And yeah, I felt a little bit of vindicated, a little bit of imposter syndrome because I knew the pressure that was going to be put on me to be excellent and no mistakes could happen. Felt that, but mostly joy, pride, honor that she trusted me because she had choices. She could have easily gone to Rosenthal, Latucci, and Lowenberg, but she wanted someone that looked like her. It validated that it was important. Me being a young Black dentist and female dentist mattered. And the fact that I delivered, I think I represented for all the aspiring young Black dentists that didn't have hope or didn't think that they can make it. I extended that hope to them.
So you and I had a lot of conversations last night and this morning, and just kind of talking about business and philosophies and things like this. And I have to share something with you, because I asked about special skills, and you said that's just how I am. I'm going to put a very fine point on a special skill that you may not realize you have.
Okay.
So one of the reasons you're successful is this. My last question was very ambiguous on purpose. I left it open for you to either talk about when Cardi B's veneer popped off and you had to handle things, or when the Cardi B headline with the song hit. Which one did you focus on?
The win.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's your Easter egg.
I love that.
So how do you stay grounded when the outside world is all cheering and throwing you roses, but you still have to go home with pressures and insecurities and, like you said, imposter syndrome?
That's where the community, that's where Mama Austin comes in. I can call her and tell her anything, and she's going to tell me the truth. Brutally honest, like someone else here I know. Brutally honest, and I appreciate that. I want to hear the truth.
That's what makes good friends.
That's what make good friends. Most of my friends most of the people in my circle, my top five, in my circle are, I have my best friend from high school that I did driver's ed with, and we went on to college, pledged together, sorority. She is my best friend to this day. I can call her, and she's very successful in her own right. And we know each other. We come from the same town. We have the same background. She was homeless in high school. She understands the struggle. So I can talk to her. I have that community where I can go to people and just be Catrise, and not be embarrassed about whatever I'm going through. If I had a slow month and finances are tough, I can say that, because everybody has tough times and ups and downs in life and business. And I can share those secrets. I belong to a mastermind, as do you, backstage in dentistry. I think it's important to join mastermind groups. That's what this is for. And the premise is that we can bounce ideas. We can, in our meetings that we have, we talk about on a monthly basis what our top 5 challenges and our top 5 wins. It's super important to have that support system, because you always think that you're the only person going through this. And when you get into these groups or you have that support system, you discover by surprise that you ain't the only one going through it. And it is refreshing to hear. I mean, you don't wish bad or these things on anyone, but it is refreshing to hear that you're not the only one, and to hear experience shares of how people overcame their challenges. They had the same challenge, and to hear how they did it so that you can make a pivot and get out of your funk, or, those challenges that you're having, that you can pivot and turn those failures into successes.
I love that message. I have to admit, every mastermind I've ever been part of, I piss somebody off in, because the first thing I say is that I can't stand the word mastermind, because it's really just a support group.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they they take umbrage to that. We'll just say that. But I mean, it really is. It's a support group of people who know your experiences and might have new and innovative thoughts on how to fix a problem because they've been there and done it. Mm-hmm. And, it's like Thomas Edison said. Someone asked him once, how does it feel to have failed 10,000 times trying to invent the light bulb? So he didn't fail 10,000 times. He found 10,000 ways it didn't work. And that's really the truth. If you can shortcut, or as our friend Anissa likes to say, you can get the cheat code. Well, the cheat code is finding out how somebody else screwed up and what didn't work so that you can eliminate those as choices.
Hit the easy button.
Hit the easy button. So what do you do when you outgrow your brand, or when your brand outgrows the version of you that exists right now?
You reinvent. So that's pretty much what what I had to go through once I sold my business and decided that I wanted to focus on marketing, start a podcast, write more books. I had to reinvent myself, and that's a bit challenging because people have perceived you as one way for such a long time, 20 years. I'm dentist to the stars. I am the queen of smiles. I do veneers, teeth whitening, and help people have a beautiful, healthy, and confident smile. But now you're doing this new thing. What is this new thing? And what makes you qualified to do this?
The 10,000 ways.
That's right. And so that has been challenging, rebranding and helping people understand the new me and this thing that I'm doing now. But at the end of the day, because you've heard my story, you know that I've done this for myself for 20 years. So now I'm just packaging this new thing. I'm starting all over from day one. I'm packaging this new thing. Like I had to come up with the idea of Dentist to the Stars. Now I'm the celebrity branding coach. I'm just packaging this new product that I have and showing how I can help you change your business. So it's gone from how to change your smile and have a beautiful, healthy, and confident smile, of how I can help you brand like a star, influence like a leader, and monetize like a boss. So it's just taking what I do, changing lives, changing businesses, and showing you the other skill that I have. So now I have been, in the last 3 or 4 years, repackaging, coming up with products, courses, getting out into, now here's the thing that has been challenging. I spent so much time on the outside world marketing and being known to the outside world. I didn't spend a lot of time networking in dentistry. I was kind of networking on the outside. So now, the last couple of years, I've had to introduce myself and my brand to the dental market and meet dentists and kind of introduce myself. So I've been attending more conferences and speaking, getting on more stages, and kind of introducing brand, doing podcasts like this, and introducing my new brand and how I've reinvented myself to a new audience. And it's been fun. It's been a challenge, but it's been a fun challenge because I can equally transform your business and help you understand that your brand is a part of your value. And when I sold my business to a DSO, I know that I had 2 valuable things. Number one, the real estate. I was on Billionaires Row, and I had a lease that was only going up 1%. So this DSO would have never got on 57th Street without Dr. Catrise Austin and her lease. That was number one. Number two, you are buying a celebrity dentist. I come as a package with a built-in audience. I have PR, I have marketing, I have patients that have supported me. I had a brand, and that in itself was valuable. So if I can help you build your brand, and what I need people to understand is that this isn't about fame. The challenge that I had to discover is when people hear me speak, they're like, I don't want to be famous. A lot of dentists don't want to be famous. It's not about the fame. It's about getting your message out. And this is why I wrote the 2 books, The Celebrity Branding Blueprint and The Fame Formula, to help you understand that this is not about being famous. It's about taking the strategies that famous people use to elevate their brands and to become successful. So if I can tell you the 5 things that they do: position, publish, promote, get publicity, and come up ways to profit, and do that and use the same strategies that celebrities use, you as a dentist, it doesn't matter what industry you are in, whatever you do, you can build a brand that has visibility, you can reach more people, and you can monetize. And when it's time to sell, your EBITDA is going to...
With a D.
With a D.
Sorry,
is
side
going
conversation
to,
from yesterday.
yeah, we had your value is going to be increased. You're going to make more money at the end of the day. So that's what it's all about. It's not about being famous. If nobody knows your name, they're not going to know your worth.
I love it. I love it. That's a great quote. So this is the part of the podcast where it gets the diciest, where I ask a question that you may or may not be ready to answer.
Okay.
Is there a moment that you've kept private, that you've not shared publicly, that you're ready to share now, where you hit rock bottom, you felt broken, and you were ready to quit?
Oh, gosh. All right. Exclusively
well, that
here.
was a downer.
Exclusively here. I would say selling the practice and having that downtime, because I had to, I wasn't making, the money. Ooh, oh gosh. Okay. Let's start back. Selling the business. I sold to the wrong DSO.
You should have gone with MB2.
I should have gone with MD2. I don't know where they are, if they are in the New York area, but I was sold a dream of, okay, you're already successful and you are killing it right now. You're off the heels of Cardi B. And when we buy this business, we're going to have billboards in Times Square. We're going to put ads on the subways. We're going to kill it because you have this and we have the marketing budget and the team to support you. And when I signed on the dotted line, those things didn't happen at all. And I realized that I lost control. I'm no longer the owner. And they treated me as if I did not build this bitch from the ground up, that I didn't put my blood, sweat, and tears into this. And I was kind of disregarded as just another associate in the practice. And we went from having almost 100 new patients a month to getting 10 new patients a month.
Oh, ouch.
Yes. And I'm sitting here like, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to have the video. I take my smile makeovers, smile stories. Can we have the videographer that I paid, $3,000 a month for? No, that's a budget we got to cut. This is what I do. This is the customer care. Oh, you're playing hip hop in the office? Well, our patients are complaining about hip hop. So we're going to start playing Light FM. So the patients are coming in like, where am I? So the vibe changed, the atmosphere changed. I have no say so. They're not listening to me. And quickly, the office started to change. And so now I'm working on commissions because I'm an associate. We are getting 10 new patients a month and they may not want these veneers. We're not marketing towards that. We're marketing the bread and butter dentistry. So I will tell you, my first check was $800. My second check might have been $900. And the third month's check was under $1,000. And that is when, and I'm complaining month one, like, hello, I'm not making money. Well, we just gave you a shitload of money. So what are you complaining about? But for me, I'm like, don't count. Like, how do you know what I have dedicated for that money? That's retirement. That's that's not the money I was counting on living off of, but that's their thought process. And so that third check, it was right before the Greater New York Dental meeting. I got the check. I went home and got my SUV, and I said, I quit. I quit. I am coming back. I'm taking all my celebrity pictures off the wall. I'm going to the computer and getting all the vital things that I need to get. And I'm done. I cannot do this. I'm depressed. I'm gaining weight. I'm not Catrise. This is horrible. And I can't do this for 3 more years. And thank God Mama Austin was at the negotiation table. They wanted me to do 5. And she was like, you're not doing 5, you're doing 3. And thank God. But I can't even do the 3 years. Can't do it. And this is going to come with a big price tag. I'm going to lose half of my money that's owed to me. I'm going to lose money. But I can't go 3 more years doing this. It's not me. And I got to be authentic, and I can't do it. And it meant, I'm getting emotional. It means I'm going to leave the patients that I love, and I'm going to leave the business that I love, but I can't do it. And I did. And a lot of people are hurt because I left that way. I couldn't talk about it, of course. So I lost a lot of patients, friends, and I'm glad I'm able to talk about it now. Because there was I felt a bit, it's a mourning. I lost my business.
You lost your baby.
I lost my baby. Damn you. I lost my baby, and that hurt a lot. And to not be able to talk about it. And then when I would get on, I was big on social media, and I was known for going live all the time. They would get on my Instagram lives, and they would watch to see what I would say and make sure I wasn't saying anything. So I had to block all of the people from the DSO, and they wanted to see if I was honoring the compete, which was 7-mile radius. And I had no idea really how deep 7 miles was from Midtown Manhattan. It meant that if I was going to work in Manhattan, I had to go deep into Brooklyn or deep into Queens, deep into Jersey. And that's what I had to do. But they were watching me, and I was like, gosh, I feel like I'm being stalked by the people who killed my business. And so I had to get over that, and I had to remember who the heck I was, and that if I did it once, I could do it again, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start a little mini practice. I don't want to start a full practice, but I can still do dentistry on my terms and rent space. I'm going back to what I did in the beginning. I'm going to rent space. I'm going to find an office and rent space, and I'm not going to do dentistry full time, but I want to do the dentistry that I want to do, which is going to be veneers and teeth whitening and smile makeovers. I'm not going to do general dentistry, which means that some of the patients that I saw before, I still won't ever see again. But I'm going to come back, do dentistry on my terms, and still build my new business and do my and. And that was, I gained about 50 pounds, which was tough in itself because most of my life I had a nice body. I could wear whatever I wanted. And I would step on the scale and I got up to like 230. I'm 5'5", so my face is on swole. I'm wearing, my mom is one of my shoppers. She's a thrifter. So I give her a $20 budget to go to the thrift store and have her way. And she comes.
I'm getting Mama Austin on this podcast.
Oh, Mama Austin is thebomb.com. She goes out for $20 a month and she's a fashionista. Her Instagram handle is Mama Be Stylin', because Mama Be Stylin'.
I love it. You guys go check her out.
Check her out on Instagram. She doesn't post that much. We're going to work on that because she's a brand in herself. But yeah, so that is, that's one of the things that so she would buy me clothes and it would be a size 18, size 20. And I'm like, you think I'm that fat? Like, and she's like, it's not about the size, it's about the style and the fit. And that just never, me, I'm about numbers. It's size 18. I'm a solid 12. That's the number that I'm used to. So I was like, this is gotta stop. So the depression, the weight gain, I turned to food for comfort. I'm in the house during the pandemic. I'm just eating, cooking up a storm, and all those things weighed on me. But then I had that time to kind of rebrand myself, write the books, come up with a plan, and come out once outside open, introduce this new brand and business, and launch it.
So a message to DSOs out there. There's a book called Everything I Need to Know About Life I Learned in Kindergarten. Familiar?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things that DSOs need to do when they're in their kindergarten stage is read the fable about the golden goose. Because if you kill the golden goose, there's no more eggs inside.
And by the way, they closed their doors within those 3 years.
That's a bittersweet one, isn't it?
Yes. My patients started to call me and ask me, how do they get their records? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? You go to the DSO and you get your records. But they went out of business. And one day I was on 57th Street and I walked by and I'm like, I'm going to go inside my former building and just see. And when I opened up the mailbox, it was empty. And I was like, wow.
Are you still under non-compete?
Oh, no.
I happen to know where there's a space you can get where it's already pre-bid out for dental.
Say that again?
Said I happen to know a place you can get that's already pre-built out for dental.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah, it's your old location.
Okay.
Yeah, build out won't cost anything.
You're right.
Wouldn't that get them up?
Wouldn't that get them up? But I like doing dentistry on a smaller scale because I do now. I'm immersed into branding, and I have the ability and have been working with clients and watch them soar and become rock stars. And that's just as gratifying to see people publish their books. You had one of my clients, Catherine Alderman, on the AI Queen, and just seeing she just got booked to speak at the Chicago Midwinter. And she's like, it's the book. And I'm like, yes. You got to package your content and good things, or you're going to get that exposure. So it's been fun. I love dentistry, but I love branding and marketing and PR just as much. So I like doing dentistry when I want to. I have set hours a couple times a month, and I do it as I need to. Luckily, with my smile makeovers, unless there's an emergency, it's kind of one and done.
Before we move on to our next session, which I promise there will be no more emotional questions.
God damn it.
So before we move on, one of the things in all of the people over the years, and I've conducted, well over 300 interviews between this podcast, the last podcast lives, and things like that. And one of the things I've noticed that seems to be a pattern is successful people, many of them, not all of them, but many of them share two things. The first one is that they've come from poverty, and so they know what that's like. And it's not the life that they want, so it flicks a switch in them.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is an unwarranted, unjustified positivity for their future. Yeah. The interviews, and I watch a lot of interviews as well. I love watching documentaries and those success stories, how I got there. And you are correct, a very common theme. So when I'm struggling, what keeps me going is, I grew up not having, I'm not afraid. Even if I failed tremendously, I know how to survive. I really proved that to myself again during the pandemic. I was like, oh, I got this. I know how to cook. I know how to do my own hair. I know how to do my own nails. I grew up having to do a lot of this stuff myself. So if I have to go back to doing that, so be it. At least
I know how to do it. And what was your second point?
Just the unwarranted positivity and growing up in poverty.
Yeah.
So, moving right along, how would you lead differently today if and when you go back to New York and rent your old office? How would you lead differently today than you did 10 years ago? And what had to break in you to evolve?
How would I lead? I don't know if how would I? I mean, I thought I'd incorporating the systems. I wouldn't change anything about that. The only thing that I would do, let's see. I don't know if there's much that I would do different. I felt very good about my leadership. I could do a better job at discernment.
And what broke in you to make that happen?
See, and to clarify that, my mom is the kind of person that says, I don't trust you until I have a reason to trust you. And my thought is, I trust everybody until you give me a reason not to. So now I'm a lot more, and that could be in hiring and quickness to fire. I would say I would be a lot better in that in my leadership, because when you have that bad apple in the bunch, it really affects your bottom line. So yes, now I look at people with a better judgment. And do we have the same core values? Are you a good person in every aspect of hiring, friendships, business relationships? So I would say that would be the key thing in my leadership that I would change, and I have changed. Being a little bit more careful with people.
So, what is your relationship these days with mentorship? And are you filling other people up and pouring into them the way your mentors did to you?
I have recently, now that I am in a better mental space, particularly when I was going through my little depression and second guessing my whole life after that bad deal. Now that I'm in a better space, I have taken on 2 mentors. One is entering her second year of dental school. She's at my school, University of Maryland, which I love that she's at my school so I can really speak to the experience. But she's from New York, so when she's in town, she could come to the office. So she's one, and then a new grad I just took on, and she appears to have everything. She reminds me of a young me, the drive. So my relationship with mentorship is very necessary, and I'm thinking about my legacy. The first act, I had associates. I had a prosthodontist in my office and general dentist, but I didn't quite groom anyone to do what I do. This second act, as I do my mini practice, I am looking to groom someone to be a mini me and to live on the legacy, because that's important. As a trailblazer in dentistry, I think it's important to leave my legacy. So that's part of the books and the things that I'm doing. But my practice, I wanted to live on. I wanted to live on. So the only way I can do that is to train someone the things that I know and watch them rise and VIP Smiles will live on, or the teachings of VIP Smiles will live on forever, hopefully.
So, since you hadn't shared your story publicly before, I didn't have that information whenever I wrote these questions. So my next question seems a bit prescient. If you had to start over again tomorrow with no brand and no followers and no recognition, what would you do differently? We kind of covered that. You're going to do it the same way with maybe a tweak or two.
Yes, if I had to start all over again, I did a lot of things right. However, I would look at, which I'm doing right now, I'm looking at the first part of the FAME formula is getting brand clarity. So right now I'm looking at, and when you're looking for brand clarity, we're looking like I have to do a SWOT analysis, looking at my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, my threats. I'm looking at my competition, and now I have lots of competition. The crazy part is that my competition in dentistry isn't just these young dentists that are coming out doing celebrity dentistry and doing veneers, which I didn't have a lot of pressure or I didn't have to worry about most of my career. I have non-dentists that are doing veneers and teeth whitening. So there's a lot of competition in this space. So my core job right now is to look at how am I going to be different in my little boutique practice. And I am partnering with another dentist that doesn't do dentistry. She does Botox and fillers, and another aspect of making someone look complete in their smile makeover, facial aesthetics. So one of the things I'm looking at is, who can I partner with to be different? What type of core audience can I look at to differentiate from my competitors, and what products can I offer to get a competitive edge? And so those are some of the things that I'm doing now that I'm very excited about. I'm going to start doing a little bit more dentistry with the help of some of the people that I'm training. Hopefully, I don't have to be, that was one of the things I like. Because I'm a boss, I like being hands-on and doing everything myself, but I have to learn how to let go and not be the producer. I am a boss. I'm the creative. I can think of the ideas and someone else can execute. That's the part that I have to let go and really excel at. So this go around, I will have help. I will train others to do what I do and have a team to execute. I'll still make money, but I won't be the producer, and I'll be over here working on my other business and thinking about how I can be different. In dentistry, my market is non-dentists. I'm teaching branding, but within the dental space, there's also tons of marketing firms, and I have to get in there and say, here's where I'm different. And what I've identified is my differentiator is that I know PR like the back of my hand. I can get, just today, the funny thing is I'm quoted in the New York Times, which I've never been in my 20, almost 30 years. I've never been quoted in the New York Times, but I woke up this morning to an article being quoted on how braces is the new trend in 2025. It's the new trend again. And I'm honored that I can still be the go-to person. And the only reason that she reached out is because she's been following me on social media. And the other dentists that were quoted in the article and hygienists were all TikTok and Instagram's rock stars. So I know PR like the back of my hand, and I know that there's not a lot of PR specialists in dentistry. So that's one of the things that I'm going to infiltrate the market. It's going to be authentic because I know it. I have relationships with all the producers in New York. I can pitch to a Good Morning America. Any show that I want to pitch to, I have those relationships. So not only did I build dentistry relationships and relationships with entertainers, I built over the last 30 years relationships with the media. So that's one of the things that I'm excited about, that I literally can bring you into my world and I can help you get the notoriety. And that's what I'm excited to do.
I love it. So is there something that you're still trying to master in your own leadership or your own business journey?
What am I trying to master right now? I know a lot in marketing and PR, but I don't know everything. So I'm still taking personal development courses. The thing with marketing and PR, the game changes. I'm happy that I have Catherine in my circle because now I'm trying to learn AI. And that's the important thing about this content creation, and using a chat GPT is super important. People in dentistry, this is what I've learned. People in dentistry have been shunning, and I see the Facebook groups, oh, you're cheating. Well, they don't know that if you're not feeding chat GPT your content, you're not going to show up in search engines. It's super important to use it as a reference, as a guide, and feed your content so that your name will pop up. It's the new SEO, search engine optimization. So I am learning AI and automation, and still immersing myself in courses and learning from the best. I have mentors. I still pay thousands of dollars a year to go learn how to deliver my content in certain type of ways. I have automated webinars 24/7. I'm doing live seminars, live events. I'm just learning how to get my brand out there. So the great thing about me is as I'm helping people brand, I'm in the trenches. I'm not one of those companies where I'm just telling you what to do because I read a book or something. I'm literally in the trenches building my brand as I help you build yours. And I'm able to, all the money that I invest in personal development, I am able to pass that along to you. So when you work with me, you are hitting that easy button because I'm able to help you skip the line and learn what I learn, and you can become the best and get your visibility out there, and in turn grow your brand and your monetization and exit rich, as Sharon Lecter says.
So I was trying to look it up while you were talking. I need a Jamie. So I read an article about a guitarist. He was a professional guitarist, and he was being interviewed, and he said something, and the interviewer kind of questioned it. He said, I've got a guitar lesson I need to get to at 2:00, so we'll have to go ahead and cut this short. And the interviewer said, you're a professional guitar player. I don't remember who it was, but they played for a big band. He said, why are you taking lessons? He said, I didn't. But one day I was talking to someone who teaches guitar lessons, and he told me that one of his students was Eric Clapton. He said, why the hell is Eric Clapton taking guitar lessons? And that made him question everything and realize that there is no top of your game. And the only way to keep going up, because in this world, entropy says there's no such thing as a flat line. Anything that's not raising is lowering.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to continue seeking that mentorship and to continue upping your game, getting better, sharpening the knife, so to speak.
Speaking of music, everybody that knows me, if you follow me on social media, you know that I love the artist Prince. And my mom took me to see him at his first tour in 1980, and his music and his work ethic and how he fought the industry.
He was a genius.
He was a genius, and he wasn't afraid to break boundaries. He has been an amazing mentor and someone to watch and be inspired from. So it's beyond the music, and most Prince fans love him because of beyond the music. It was the man that he was, self-taught, always seeking spirituality or being the best in his industry. He was one of the first to hit the internet to sell his music. He wasn't afraid to go to a higher height, even if people thought he was crazy doing it. When he bought the industry, wrote Slave, changed his name to the artist formerly known as. He did so many things that were controversial and yet groundbreaking. And I look to him as inspiration. And when I speak or I have a major event, I wear my Prince chain because I'm like, okay, I'm getting on this stage. I want to be great like he was. He is a really big inspiration.
I love it. So, last question.
No.
3 hours goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yes.
So what does freedom look like to you now? And does it feel within reach?
Yes. Although it was a painful parting of my practice, I discovered freedom, and I like it. I like being able to choose my days that I'm going to work. I like being able to travel. It's a big part of my life that I was exposed to when I was younger. I love when I really need to decompress and be free, that I can go to my home in Michigan and go horseback riding and go fishing and go back to my roots. I love that I have balance, because New York can be overwhelming and the lifestyle is fast and people want 7:00 p.m. appointments and it's always on. And I love that, but I love that I have the freedom to shut it down. And when I need peace, I'm enjoying being here in Alvin, Texas. It's very peaceful. I hope that I get to come back and work here and record here. I need balance and I love freedom. And that's why I would never go back to running a full, well, maybe at some point with your encouragement, I might have a practice, but I would be an owner only. I don't want to go back to that hustle and grind of dentistry. It's changed a lot, and I'm not necessarily happy at the direction that it's going, as a lot of dentists are questioning the direction and fate of dentistry. But I like doing dentistry my way. I'm free to live my life, and I have, for the first time, balance. When I was in dentistry, I was going hardcore. Missed out on having kids, and I don't even know that that was a part of my destiny. My practice was my baby. But there were some things that I probably missed out on because I didn't have balance. It was all about the business and being the best that I could be, and business. So now I have balance. I love it. I feel more free, and I like working in the house, and I love creating. So that's why I like my branding business, because I can work from a beach. I can write books and coach from a beach from any country in the world. I can log in and I can coach, and I love it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. My and my second act so far has been amazing, and I am looking forward to the journey and to see how far I can take this. And at the end of the day, I will have changed a lot of lives, and I will be at peace with what I contributed to dentistry. And I hope that the world will be a better place. I know the world will be a better place because of some of the things that I did, and the education and in my books, my podcasts, the people that I taught how to do what I do, and their messages expand. The world would be a better place because of what I've done.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having me. This was the most amazing interview that I've had, and I've done a lot. You've inspired me. I feel like it's time to tell my story. It's time for me to write. I write a couple books a year, but I think it's time to tell my story. And you have inspired me.
I love it.
Stay tuned.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us for the Business of Dentistry podcast. And until the next time, this is Doc. I'm out.
And watch me educate. Yeah, we been could have started, but it's never late. Do it for my kids, yeah, let's set it straight. Do it for your kids, gotta set it straight. It's time to regulate. We need change now. We need solo, we need